Your addiction to mental chaos is killing you slowly. Yes, addiction, because that's exactly what it is. You're addicted to worry, hooked on anxiety, dependent on mental turbulence. You become so accustomed to the noise in your head that silence terrifies you. And like any addict, you defend your addiction. Justify it? But here's the truth that he wants to acknowledge in the sign of intelligence or productivity. It's a symptom of mental indiscipline. You're not a victim of your thoughts. You're an unwilling participant in your own, and until you accept this uncomfortable reality, you keep searching for peace in all the wrong places. A cold plastic chair in an empty waiting room. The steady beep of machines down the hall. That moment when your whole world shrinks to the space between breaths, waiting for news that could shatter everything. We've all been there, or would be. That crushing weight of uncertainty that makes you question every choice, every decision that led to this moment. In those hours, your mind becomes your worst enemy. It races through every possible outcome, tortures you with what ifs, drowns you in regrets. You try to find peace, but your thoughts scatter like startled birds. And in that sterile room, under those harsh fluorescent lights, you realize a profound truth. Your mind, this incredible gift that sets humans apart from all other creatures. But here's what fascinates. Two people can sit in identical plastic chairs, under the same lights, facing the same uncertainty, yet their experiences will be radically different. One crumbles under the weight of their thoughts, while another finds an inexplicable peace. One drowns in anxiety, while another remains anchored in hope. Same circumstance, drastically different experiences. The difference isn't in their situation. It's in their mental discipline. One has learned to be a master of their mind, while the other remains its slave. One has developed the ability to find peace in chaos, while the other creates chaos even in peace. You see, we live in a world that's masterful at teaching us how to make a living, but terrible at teaching us how to make a life. We learn complex mathematics, but never learn how to solve the equation of our own thoughts. We study foreign languages, but never learn to speak peace to our own minds. We master technology, but remain novices at managing our mental landscape. The truth that nobody wants to hear is this. Your external circumstances will never bring you lasting peace if your mind is at war with itself. You can change jobs, change partner, change city, change your entire life. But if you haven't mastered your mind, you're just changing the scenery of your suffering. Let me share something deeper with you. Your mind is like a garden. It will grow whatever you plant in it. Plant worry and you'll harvest anxiety. Plant criticism and you'll harvest low self-worth. Plant bitterness and you harvest loneliness. But plant peace. They think peace is the absence of conflict. They believe if they could just fix everything in their external world, they'd finally find peace. They're waiting for the perfect conditions, like waiting for the ocean to be still before learning to swim. Real peace, the kind that sustains you through life's storms, isn't found in perfect conditions. It's cultivated through mental discipline. It's developed through the daily practice of choosing your thoughts as carefully as you choose your food, your clothes, your friends. Some of you are nodding right now because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what it's like to lie awake at 3 a.m., your mind spinning with thoughts you can't control. You know what it's like to replay conversations that happened years ago, reliving hurts that should have healed long ago. You know what it's like to torture yourself with futures that haven't happened yet. But let me ask you something that might change your life. What if peace isn't something you find, but something you create? What if tranquility isn't a destination you reach, but a skill you develop? You see, your mind is the most powerful tool you'll ever possess. It can create symphonies or chaos, build empires or destroy opportunities, forge connections or erect walls. But like any powerful tool, and mastery requires discipline. Think about how you treat a physical wound. You clean it, you protect it. You give it time to heal. But when it comes to mental wounds, what do? You poke them. We replay them. We share them with anyone who listens. We let them fester and infect our entire outlook on life. This isn't about positive thinking. That's just mental sugar coating. This is about mental discipline. The art of choosing your thoughts with the same care a surgeon chooses their instruments. It's about developing the ability to catch toxic thoughts before they poison your peace. Some of you are living with minds like unlocked houses. Anything and everything can walk in and make itself at home. Random thoughts, others' opinions, media messages, societal pressures. They all come in uninvited and rearrange your mental furniture. Then you wonder why you can't find peace in your own head. Let me something that might disturb you. Your mind is too valuable to be a public playground. Your thoughts are too precious to be left unguarded. Your peace is too important to be left to chance. You see, every thought that enters your mind is like a seed planted in fertile soil. It doesn't just stay there. It grows. It develops roots. It bears fruit. Are you mindful of what you're planting? Some of you are harvesting anxiety because you've been planting worry seeds for years. Some of you are reaping depression because you've been sowing seeds of self-doubt. Some of you are gathering loneliness because you've been planting seeds of distrust. But here's the little bit choose. What you eat, what you wear, and who you spend time with. You can choose your thoughts. Not the initial thoughts that pop into your head, but you can choose which thoughts you entertain, which ones you nurture, which ones you allow to take root. Thoughts. When you get a text message, you choose whether to respond. When someone knocks on your door, you choose whether to open it. When you see food on a menu, you choose whether to order it. But when a thought comes into your mind, how often do you exercise that same level of choice? Mental discipline isn't about never having negative thoughts. That's impossible. It's about developing the ability to recognize thoughts that don't serve your peace and showing them the door. It's about building the capacity to direct your mind rather than being directed by it. Some of you right now are thinking, but you don't understand. My thoughts are different. My situation is different. My pain is different. And you're right. Your experience is unique to you. But the principles of mental discipline are universal, just like the laws of gravity. There's something profound with you. Your thoughts are like clouds in the sky. They come and go. But you are the sky. Vast, unchanging, unaffected. The problem is most of us have identified so strongly with our thoughts that we've forgotten we are the sky. We think we are the clouds. This isn't just philosophy. This is practical wisdom for everyday living. When you understand that you are not your thoughts, that you have the power to choose which thoughts you engage with, something remarkable happens. You start to experience peace even in the midst of chaos. But here's where many people get stuck. They try to find peace by controlling their external world. They think if they can just fix their relationships, get the right job, make enough money, achieve enough success, then they'll find peace. But that's like trying to calm the ocean by smoothing the waves. It's an endless, exhausting task. Real peace comes from mental discipline, from developing the ability to remain steady, regardless of what waves are crashing around you. It comes from understanding that while you can't control what thoughts come into your mind, you absolutely can control which thoughts you allow to stay. Have you ever noticed how your mind can take you from perfect contentment to complete chaos in just a few thoughts? You're sitting there perfectly at peace, and then one thought leads to another, and suddenly you're mentally rehearsing arguments that haven't even happened yet. You're solving problems that don't exist. You're fighting battles that aren't even real. That's because an undisciplined mind is like a monkey swinging from tree to tree, never staying still, always chasing the next thought, the next worry, the next distraction. And in this age of endless notifications, constant updates, and 24/7 connectivity, our minds have become more restless than ever. But here's what's fascinating. The same mind that can create chaos can also create calm. The same mind that can spiral into anxiety can also settle into peace. The difference lies in discipline, in developing the ability to direct you by them. Some of you are living with minds like crowded marketplaces, full of noise, confusion, and chaos. Everyone's shouting for attention. Every thought demands immediate response. Every worry insists on immediate action. And in that mental marketplace, peace seems as impossible. What if I told you that peace isn't the absence of thoughts? It's the mastery of them. What if tranquility isn't about emptying your mind, but about filling it with thoughts that serve your well-being? What if mental discipline isn't about control, but about choice? You see, every thought you entertain is either moving you toward peace or away from it. Every mental pattern you reinforce is either building your serenity or destroying it. Every internal conversation is either elevating your spirit or diminishing it. Let me share something that might challenge you. Your mind is not a democracy where every thought gets an equal vote. It's a kingdom, and you are the ruler. You get to decide which thoughts become policies and which ones get dismissed. You get to choose which mental patterns become laws and which ones get abolished. This is where most people fail. They try to find peace by avoiding difficult thoughts, by running from challenging emotions, by pretending everything's fine when it's not. That's not peace. And avoidance never leads to authentic tranquility. Real mental discipline isn't about suppressing thoughts or emotions. It's about developing the ability to observe them without being controlled by them. It's about building the capacity to feel without being overwhelmed. Think about how you learn to drive a car. At first, every action required conscious effort. Checking mirrors, signaling turns, pressing pedals. But with practice, these actions became automatic. Mental discipline works the same way. At first, it requires conscious effort to catch and redirect negative thought patterns. But with practice, peace becomes your default state. Some of you are shaking your heads right now thinking, but my thoughts are too strong. My worries are too real. My fears are too deep. And yes, your challenges are real. Your concerns are valid. Your emotions are legitimate. Having these thoughts doesn't mean you have to be had by them. You see, thoughts are like birds. You can't prevent them from flying over your head, but you can prevent them from building nests in your hair. You can't stop thoughts from appearing, but you can stop them from settling in and taking over. This isn't about positive thinking or pretending everything's fine when it's not. This is about developing the mental muscle to choose which thoughts you engage with, which ones you let go of, and which ones you transform. What you feed grows and what you starve dies. This applies not just to physical things, but to thoughts and emotions as well. When you feed anxiety with constant attention, it grows. When you feed worry with endless rumination, it expands. When you feed negativity with persistent focus, it multiplies. When you feed peace with consistent practice, it grows. When you feed tranquility with regular attention, it expands. When you feed mental discipline with daily effort, it strengthens. Some of you have spent years strengthening the wrong mental muscles. You've become Olympic champions at worry, professional athletes at anxiety, world-class performers at negative thinking. Not because you wanted to, but because that's what you've practiced most consistently. Your mind will excel at whatever you train it to do. Train it to find problems, and it will find problems everywhere. Train it to spot dangers, and it will see threats in every corner. Train it to expect the worst, and it will always prepare for disaster. But train it to find peace, and it will discover tranquility even in chaos. Train it to spot opportunities, and it will see possibilities everywhere. Train it to expect growth, and it will find lessons in every experience. The problem isn't that finding peace is impossible. It's that most people never learned how to train their minds for peace. They've mastered the art of worry, perfected the skill of anxiety, but never developed the discipline of tranquility. Think about this. When you get a cut, your body knows how to restore itself. When you get hungry, your body knows how to signal itself. Your body has natural healing mechanisms. What about your mind? Your mind also has natural healing mechanisms, natural paths to peace, natural ways to restore balance. But just like physical healing requires certain conditions, rest, nutrition, care, mental healing requires certain conditions. And the most important condition is discipline. A lot of you are trying to find peace while constantly feeding chaos. You're seeking tranquility while continuously consuming conflict. You're pursuing mental clarity while consistently cluttering your mind with toxic thoughts. It's like trying to sleep while drinking coffee. The actions contradict the intention. But here's what's fascinating. Just as your body can be trained to crave health food, your mind can be trained to crave peace instead of chaos. Just as your muscles can be developed to prefer movement over stagnation, your thoughts can be developed to prefer tranquility over turbulence. This isn't about forcing your mind into submission. That never works. It's about gently, consistently, persistently training your mind to find peace as naturally as your lungs find air. It's about developing mental habits that lead to tranquility as automatically as your heart beats. 21. This journey isn't always comfortable. Sometimes finding peace means facing what disturbs your peace. Sometimes developing mental discipline means confronting undisciplined thoughts. Sometimes creating tranquility means acknowledging the chaos. Let me share a profound truth that might fundamentally alter how you view your relationship with peace and mental discipline. Every single moment, not just every day, but every moment, you're making a choice about your mental state. Most of these choices happen below the level of conscious awareness, which is precisely why developing mental discipline is so crucial. It's about how a master archer approaches their craft. Before they ever release an arrow, they develop an intimate understanding of their bow. They practice their stance countless times. They learn to control their breathing. They study the wind patterns. Most importantly, they learn to maintain absolute focus despite any distractions. This is exactly what mental discipline requires. Not just occasional attention to your thoughts, but a fundamental mastery of your mental landscape. The greatest battle you ever faced isn't happening in the external world. It's not in your career challenges, your relationship struggles, or your financial concerns. The most significant war you'll ever wage is happening in the quiet sanctuary of your own. Every thought, every emotional response, every mental reaction is either a victory or a surrender in this ongoing battle for peace. Consider how carefully you protect your physical space. You lock your doors, install security systems, put up fences. You're selective about who you let into your home, what you allow in your personal space. What's about your mental space? What security measures have you put in place to protect your peace? What filtering system do you have for the thoughts you allow to take residence in your mind? Some of you are living with minds like busy train stations. Thoughts coming and going at all hours. Noise and chaos constant. No system for determining what stays. Then you wonder why peace feels elusive. Why tranquility seems impossible to maintain. Why serenity appears to be a luxury you can't afford. Let me share something that might revolutionize your approach to mental well-being. Your mind is not a public space where every thought deserves equal attention. It's not a democracy where every idea gets an equal vote. It's not a free-for-all where any mental pattern can take root and grow. Your mind is a sacred space that requires careful guardianship, intentional cultivation, and consistent discipline. Think about how a master gardener tends to their garden. They don't just plant seeds and hope for the best. They prepare the soil, they choose their plants carefully, they monitor the conditions, they pull weeds regularly, they protect their garden from pests. Your mind deserves this same level of intentional care, this same degree of careful cultivation. This is where most people get derailed. They try to achieve peace by eliminating all negative thoughts, all challenging emotions, all difficult feelings. That's like trying to create a garden by eliminating all weeds without ever planting flowers. Peace is in the absence of challenging thoughts. It's the presence of mental discipline in the midst of them. Some of you have developed mental habits that actively work against your peace. You've trained your mind to expect the worst, to focus on problems, to magnify difficulties. Not because you wanted to, but because that's what you've practiced most consistently. What you practice, you perfect. What you rehearse, you reinforce. What you repeat, you become. The journey to peace through mental discipline requires a paradigm shift in how you view your relationship with your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. You are the gardener of your mental landscape, not the garden itself. This distinction is crucial because it puts you back in the position of power, back in the driver's seat of your mental experience. Consider how a skilled sailor navigates through a storm. They can't control the weather, but they can control their response to it. They can't command the winds, but they can adjust their sails. They can't calm the waves, but they can maintain their course despite them. Mental discipline works the same way. You can't control every thought that enters your mind, but you can control how you respond to those thoughts, how you process them, how you allow them to affect your peace. Your mind is like a powerful supercomputer, but most people never learn how to operate it effectively. They let it run whatever programs happen to be installed. They allow it to process whatever data it encounters. They permit it to operate on whatever settings it defaults to. Then they wonder why their mental operating system is full of viruses, why their peace program keeps crashing, why their tranquility software fails to function. And let me share something that might transform your approach to finding peace. Peace isn't something you find. It's something you create through consistent mental discipline. It's not something you discover. It's something you develop through intentional practice. It's not something you stumble upon. It's something you cultivate. Some of you teach like a destination. Something you reach when everything in your life finally aligns perfectly. But peace isn't a destination. It's not something that happens to you. It's something you happen to create through disciplined thinking, intentional focus, and consistent mental training. Think about how an Olympic athlete prepares for competition. They don't just show up on game day and hope for the best. They train consistently. They develop their skills systematically. They build their strength intentionally. They practice their technique with the mental discipline requires the same level of dedicated practice, the same commitment to consistent development, the same intentional approach to improvement. Your mind will naturally gravitate toward what you feed it most frequently. This is both the challenge and the opportunity. If you consistently feed it worry, it will become expert at finding things to worry about. If you regularly feed it anxiety, it will become skilled at discovering reasons for anxiety. But if you deliberately feed it peace, promoting thoughts, if you intentionally practice mental discipline, it will develop the ability to find tranquility even in challenging circumstances. Here's a truth that might revolutionize your approach to mental well-being. Every thought you entertain is either an investment in your peace or a withdrawal from it. Every mental pattern you reinforce is either building your tranquility or depleting it. Every internal dialogue is either strengthening your serenity or weakening it. There is no neutral ground in the battle for mental peace. Some of you have been making continuous withdrawals from your peace account without ever making deposits. You've been depleting your tranquility reserves without ever replenishing them. You've been weakening your mental discipline without ever strengthening it. The time has come to reverse this pattern, to begin making regular deposits into your peace account through disciplined thinking and intentional mental practices. Starting today, become as intentional about your mental diet as you are about your physical diet. Just as you wouldn't eat everything that's offered to you. Don't consume every thought that presents itself. Just as you wouldn't drink from a contaminated source. Don't absorb toxic thinking patterns. Just as you wouldn't regularly eat food that makes you sick. Don't habitually engage with thoughts that disturb your peace. The practice of mental discipline isn't about achieving perfect thinking. That's an impossible standard that will only create more mental turbulence. It's about developing better thinking habits, about building stronger mental muscles, about creating more reliable peace-promoting patterns. It's not about never having negative thoughts. It's about knowing how to handle them when they arise. It's not about creating a problem-free mind. It's about building a resilient mind that can maintain peace even in the midst of problems. It's a mental principle. Every moment of peace you experience is a result of mental discipline, whether conscious or unconscious. Every instance of tranquility you enjoy is a product of focused thinking. Every experience of serenity you encounter is a consequence of directed thought. Before you today, simple but profound. Will you continue to let your mind be ruled by random thoughts? Or will you develop the discipline to direct your thinking toward peace? Will you keep allowing your tranquility to be at the mercy of circumstances? Or will you build the mental strength to maintain serenity regardless of situations? Your peace is too precious to be left to chance. Your mental well-being is too valuable to be left unguarded. Your tranquility is too important to be left undisciplined. So the time has come to take command of your mind, to develop the discipline that leads to peace, to master the art of mental tranquility. The journey begins now. Not when conditions are perfect, not when circumstances are ideal, but right here, right now, in this moment. The path to peace through mental discipline starts with a single choice, the choice to be intentional about your thoughts, deliberate about your mental patterns, purposeful about your internal dialogue. Will you continue to let your mind be a wilderness where any thought can take root and grow? Or will you transform it into a carefully tended garden where peace can flourish? Will you keep surrendering your tranquility to undisciplined thinking? Or will you develop the mental discipline to cultivate and protect your peace? And the choice is yours. The time is now. The journey to lasting peace through mental discipline is in waits. Take that first step. Make that crucial choice. Begin that transformative journey. Your future self will thank you for the peace you begin cultivating today. Remember, the quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your mental discipline. The peace you seek is available. The tranquility you desire is achievable. The serenity you long for is attainable. But only through the consistent practice of mental discipline. Start now. Start where you are. Start with what you have. The journey to peace through mental discipline begins with this moment. This choice, this commitment to mastering your mind.